young guy out there and they're watching us, right? And they want to make some extra money. And let's say they have a job.
Go to law school.
Law school.
I was doing the job without a permit, and the next day I got a orange paper on my window.
Wow, so you experienced it.
It stopped working order.
How much money we talking?
Question for you guys. Is this still a good market right now with 7-8% rates? Is it still a good time to rehab or to find a product to fix it up and put it in the market?
Hello, everybody. We're here, episode 16, XR Podcast here. Everybody here is with XR. So we got Felix Marquez, Greg Cerrone, Jack Gamboa, and today we're going to talk rehab. So go.
You always remember your first time.
That is true.
Yeah.
Jack's rehabber, comedian, and realtor, all rolled up into one. So Jack, why don't you get started? Why don't you tell us your story? So how long you been rehabbing houses?
We've been flipping homes for about 30 years. I stopped counting at about 300. I've been blessed and grateful for a lot of friends and investors. Sometimes we had 6 projects going on at a time.
Wow.
Before '07, we wouldn't even work for the public. We would just be in our own empty houses, fixing them, putting a good product out in the market. Mm-hmm. Finally, after 30 years, I decided to be a realtor. Go figure.
There you go.
After all of that volume, giving it out to other realtors, I decided to become a realtor, and
I'm glad you're here with us.
I love the business, and you guys, I appreciate you having me, and I know I'm a part-time realtor, but we have a lot of experience from just life and getting old. So anything I could help bring to the table to these young guys.
Absolutely.
My biggest advice on a flip is you make your money on the buy.
On the buy, right?
On the buy.
Yeah.
If you're looking at a house with rose-petal glasses, you're going to lose.
Sometimes I feel like even in new construction, it's all on the buy.
It's on the buy.
It depends how much you buy the lot, how much it costs is up front.
Yeah, people's worst nightmare is when they're optimistic and they're making everything seem like it'll be easy.
Correct.
Because all those numbers sneak up.
Correct.
And then you're always over and out of budget.
Let's introduce Felix.
Hey, we're going to get to Felix.
Introduce Felix too. Felix still here. And so Felix is with us with XR too, like Jack. We like, again, going back to the episode, we like to do all these episodes to expose all our agents, so you get to know not only me and Frank all the time, but you get to know all the agents at XR because they all bring value to the team, to the business, and they all, like, look at Jack, 30 years, 300 flips, oh my God. And then Felix, same thing. You've
been doing flip for 10 years as a realtor, almost 6 years.
Yeah.
So, experience. I'm probably more of the hands-on on the project.
Correct.
I know you're saying, you make money on the buy. I make the money on the sell. The reason why, if you do it right, from zero, getting all the stuff done, you make the money.
okay. I guess every market is different too, right?
Absolutely.
Like I've seen a lot of your flips been like more the southwest side,
Southwest
right?
side, yes.
Okay.
Yes, Maywood.
Okay.
Right now, we're currently doing a project on Maywood.
Yeah, you have one in Maywood going on as we speak, right?
I was big.
Nice.
I just got the okay from the village for all the framing. So
That's awesome.
Very happy for that.
Wow.
Now heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrician doing the part. So to get done with that.
That's huge too because Maywood is tough, man.
It is
like
tough.
they're tough to deal with.
It is, but like I say, if you got the right crew, like my partner is is a licensed contractor.
Okay.
So me and him, we always talk about where and how and what do we need to get done. And it's all about the team.
No, of course, absolutely. And I feel like, your margin sometimes different. Like I think Jack does more north side. And the north side, it is tight. Like if it's all about, that's why he's saying the buy, because the north side is more like the buy because these purchase prices are really high right now.
Yeah.
That's why you don't see, I feel like you see a little less flips right now happening on the north side.
Some put in more sweat equity, so I could appreciate Felix if he puts in a little sweat equity with his guys.
Yep.
Before the show, we were talking about he likes to get in there and learn the different trades and actually get involved in it. So that definitely helps the end number. So you're going to make more money on the sell. I'm getting old. I'm not on my knees anymore. Party's over, baby. I'm not wearing a belt.
But it's good. But for education purpose, I think if somebody, let's say, it's a young guy out there and they're watching us, right? And they want to make some extra money. And let's say they have a job.
Go to law school.
Law school. Law school is good. But let's say they don't have the opportunity to do law school. They're in their mid-30s, right? And they're working 9-to-5 job and they want to make, do a flip here and there. Of course, maybe call one of us here at XR. We've done it. We have experience.
Money makes money though. You gotta qualify for a loan.
Okay.
Rehab loans are very tough to acquire. Sometimes, I know my first couple, I went to outside money. Some people refer to it as other people's money. Some people refer to it as hard money lenders because you don't qualify.
Did you do some of those like
So
that?
I did my first 3 like that.
But you had to start those.
And you're paying bigger juice,
Yeah.
bigger costs,
Yeah.
and
So
But you had to take off, right?
But-
So you needed that.
But that's a bigger risk, so you can't really know what you're doing.
correct.
If you screw up,
You
you're
survive the first 2 or 3, then you start parlaying that the little winnings and the sweat equity. You start rolling that over. Number 5 and 6 is much easier. Yeah.
Exactly. Because as of right now, I think Felix, you were telling me, we were talking off camera before, like you have a lender that.
That's the other way around. It's actually, you don't have to prove how much you make a year.
Yeah. That's.
All you need to have is some money in the bank.
Yeah.
Be ready to work.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. The hard money guy, pretty
Yeah.
much it is.
It's a hard money lender.
Okay.
Even if you're like 640, 630, they can get you a loan.
But are there so their collateral is, of course, they want to make sure you have experience and you show them, let's say, the project, the numbers. What do you do?
Not even you don't need to have an experience. Zero.
Okay.
All you need to have is the money.
Okay.
And that's
how
it.
much
The money, how much?
money we talking?
30%.
So
30%.
I
Okay.
mean, you're not talking about 50%. It's
Yeah, but still, 30. So if it's let's call it
Right, but I
200,000.
say-
If it's 200,000, you're putting 60, and they're borrowing 140 on a $200,000 house. So for them, their risk is less. It's not like, on a 200,000, they're not giving you 190. So you got to have 6. So you're gonna have 60, and then you have the money to do
Actually, no, because they'll give you the
oh,
money.
they'll give you the money to
They give you the money with withdrawals.
withdraw.
So
So
let's say
nice.
I finish, for example, go to my flip.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Tell
finish.
us about it.
I'm gonna finish all this, plumbing,
Okay.
wood, everything.
Okay.
Then everything's ready to go. They send their own inspector. They're like, okay, this is all done.
Okay.
And then the whole budget is 30,000,
Okay.
and then they send you the money back
Can
to
they send you
you.
more? Okay.
And then you got that money to keep going and finish the rest.
Nice.
And then let's say you're all done with the project, you're like, you know what?
Okay.
I'm all done. Give me all the money back. You can do that.
Okay.
But if you're like, hey, I'm okay with the money, then I'm just gonna wait for the closing, get my money back.
What about, do they use, besides let's say right now you have Maywood going on, besides Maywood being a collateral for them, are they also asking for your house, your primary residence as collateral? Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
Veterans birth certificates. Not
Not even that. Not even that. To be honest.
Okay.
So I took a different approach. Definitely, that's a great
For
approach.
somebody that's starting, right?
Yeah, there's a 0 money down if you get a savvy enough guy that likes your deal.
Okay.
They're going to charge you more interest. They're going to maybe hit you with 2-3 points up front, but no money down versus 30% down. But you have to have some kind of credibility.
Okay.
I also, one of my other starts was, friends and family. 20 grand here, 20 grand there.
Right.
If they trust you and they like you,
Yeah.
it's not a big deal, and they know that you know.
Yeah.
If you don't know anybody that likes you or trusts you, that's a different problem.
Just stay
Well, I feel like if you take each situation, you got to have something, right? So in his case, you got to have 30%. Your case, the other ways, you got to have some background, you got to have some know-how, you got to have some trust. So you
credibility.
proved yourself to whoever was loaning you money, like, hey, they're gonna trust you with this, and you're
More
they're
than
not
one
gonna-
way to skin a cat.
Yeah. So that's just
But the point is that everybody could do it, right? So if you're working, let's say a guy,
Wow.
maybe they're not in real estate, they're working 9-to-5 job, and they want to have like 1-2 projects here and there.
That's a tough one.
You know what I mean?
That's a tough
What
one
do you
because this
think?
is a full-time gig.
You
This
think
is-
full time you got to be all in?
This is
Well, if
a
you're doing-
full-time gig because every
Okay.
week is costing you money. You have to do the opportunity cost for the loan, for your investment, for your promise to whoever borrowed you the money.
Okay.
Do they want to borrow you at 18% or
That's true.
15%?
That's true.
Do you want to really carry that 9 months? You
That's
want to
true.
get in and out
That's
2
true.
months?
That's
Or
true.
you better have somebody on site. If you got a nice job, you got your pension, you got insurance, you better have somebody you trust on site working that project every day. There's no such thing as part-time millionaires.
But you had no, of course, absolutely not. But with your volume, let's say you had 6, 7 in the same time going, you had to be on top of your game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or
Full-time gig.
you had to be. But let's say, like me and
I had
Frank.
interns. I had the whole 9 years.
Yeah, I believe it. Like, for us, like, I like to give hope to everybody, even the little guy, Look, me and Frank, for example, we have experience too. We did a couple ourselves. Then we got busy in real estate and we couldn't, we couldn't keep up.
It's the high stress level. Like we were talking before this thing, you're like, oh, like for us, like people think, oh, why don't you just, it's like you said, it's full-time job. So if I'm going to go in on there, I'm taking away from something else. Everything.
I mean, for us, maybe I took away from my family. You know what I mean? Because I was working my full-time job, and then after work, I was going
Like
to my
having
rehab.
tenants. Yeah,
Absolutely.
You own real estate, you maintain real estate.
100%.
You're managing other people's
Yeah.
homes, you gotta be available. Yeah, and that's taken away from somewhere
They
else.
go back to my loan is, they give you a year to do the project, but
Okay.
the 3 months, you have to give it to the lender because you have like 3 months of, let's say you sell it before the 3 months, you have to do a prepaid penalty.
Okay.
So, but it still have.
So they want to make some money, some interest.
like
on
what's the interest on that?
7%.
So that's not bad.
That's a great rate. That's a
Not
great
bad at
rate.
all. That's actually cheap.
For now, yeah.
Oh, for
But-
now 7%, but all depends on your credit too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, of course,
We're in
of
the, we're on the low.
Yeah,
credit.
I like your options because you're showing that 30%, but after that, they're helping you out throughout the project. They're giving you the money, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's like me and Frank did one.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but me and Frank, like we put our down payment and then we took it was all our money.
Okay.
We ended up getting a regular loan.
Yeah, it's the traditional, like
Is we're-
bought the place.
Yeah, we want to do it safe. We're like worst case scenario, something goes bad, we could just keep the property.
Rented.
Yeah, we
It
played
was a slam. It
super
was a
safe.
slam dunk, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like
No, quite honestly, kudos to Felix because I never had an opportunity to get that kind of wonderful rate.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
30% down of 150, that's nothing.
That's not bad.
With that
and
kind
then,
of, yeah.
so like who you hire, does that matter? Like let's say I want to hire, hey,
Oh,
my
no.
uncle does flooring.
No.
Yeah, or you have to have somebody that they.
When you start this, like I said, I did it 10 years ago, so you begin to learn and know people on the project.
No, I'm saying there's a bank here.
No.
Who you hire? So you
No,
can
no,
just you could hire anybody.
Whoever you want to bring in.
Okay.
You better not bring the banker in to do the electric work though.
Yeah. No, I have
I'm
to
just
do it.
saying. I'm just saying.
You know that happened.
To go with the same to go to the same page is like you will trust people on this project. You will learn. Who you can trust.
Yeah.
Because I mean, one time I have an electrician guy that he was cutting the 2x4s to run the line.
Wow.
And I came over and I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm trying to do it fast. I'm like, we're gonna have inspection later.
Yeah.
I had to redo the whole wall.
Yeah.
I fired him and
Yeah.
I met this new guy.
You met the new guy. Yeah.
And he's awesome. He's been doing it with me for the past 7 years.
Yeah.
Right.
But it happens sometimes, you know?
But,
you gotta go
but
through those
that's
things.
one of the things. Like, luckily, like to Jack's point, like luckily you showed up. Imagine you didn't show up.
Correct.
And then you show up next week, everything's
Correct.
destroyed. I'm gonna meet the inspector. You go there, the inspector comes over. Could you imagine the disaster?
Oh, that was a disaster. Yeah.
So you can't just like...
Classic FNG. Classic FNG.
So it's not like you just sleep on like, oh, I'm just doing project. You don't think about it. You're,
I know
you're
my
on top of
type.
it.
Yeah, no.
Like Jack was saying, you got to be on top of it. You're sacrificing something.
And have some knowledge of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep learning knowledge. Yeah.
It's good to trust people, but also trust yourself. You have to
Yeah.
go there once a week. Even
Correct.
myself. I mean, I go there myself. I mean, I'm working with them.
Yeah.
I'm working with the crew.
Yeah. Exactly. So both of you, like, seems like, besides you're taking the project, you're doing it, and you're both getting permits. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, if someone wants, because everybody could say like, hey, I'll do a rehab, maybe Frank Gregg style, and we just fix it up and put it back in the market. But you guys do it even like
The slap and
like
tickle? You're doing the slap and tickle?
pretty much. but you guys are like all in, get permits, talk with the city.
Very
I
important.
love Chicago because nobody else likes Chicago because they take so
Interesting.
long. Yeah, I go the other way. Less people out there.
Okay.
Leave
Do you have good
Chicago.
relationships with like the inspectors, the city?
No, but you do as you say as you do.
Take it to there.
There's those days are long
You
gone.
go, no, I don't.
20 years ago, if you knew a guy,
Yeah.
you could even call him and he'll
Yeah.
show up and speed things up.
Yeah,
Not do you any favors,
No, but speed
they'll
it up.
speed things up. Now, none of that. It's all on the
Yes.
computer. Yeah, the computer. So you request it. They tell you when they're coming. But if you do your job, I've never failed an inspection. Just do your job.
Do your thing.
The people that want to sneak the crap through, those are the ones that don't like the inspectors. Inspectors are there to protect the consumer, to protect the contractor from future liability. Everybody's happy. Just do your job.
To protect the house not falling apart. You
The
know,
neighbor,
that's
the
my
neighbor that lives next door, they don't need a fire either.
Right.
So do
Absolutely.
your job. Do as you say as you do.
I agree. I
like
agree with
it.
him. It's just common sense, and this is personal experience, and I learned from that.
Yeah.
I was doing the job without a permit, and the next day I got a orange paper on my window.
Wow, so you experienced it.
It stopped working order. I told my guy, it was my first flip.
Yeah,
no
yeah.
experience. So I told my guy, let's get the permit, and the electrician guy was like, no, don't worry about it. Just we'll do it fast. It's all good. And I'm new. I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, I
you're
trust you. You know this stuff.
Correct.
I don't know. And then first thing you know, boom. Then I had to go through the city. Had to fire that guy. Just
It was a pain.
it was
a pain.
It was bad.
Yeah.
But I learned from it, and it's nice.
And it worked out.
And then it helped me for my clients. Tell them, you know what? Don't risk
Yeah.
it. You can try on the weekends,
I get it.
but
I think a lot of people are afraid of the city sometimes because, the margins are tight.
But they get, sometimes, like, they could actually, even though it's a pain, it could actually protect you because you get the electrician, he's cutting corners. If he knows, like, the guy's gonna come check this out, he's like, I had it happen one time, a plumber, well, I could see he would, like, he's like, oh, I just have this in my truck, I gotta get this other fitting. And he's like, oh, but this guy's gonna come look at it, I gotta go to the store now. So because he wanted to kind of, like, shimmy it up, and he probably could have made it work, but he's like, this guy's gonna come look
He
at
knew
it.
it was going to come back.
He knew he was gonna come, so he's like, let me just go.
New construction, everything's square, plumb, easy. Rehabbing, we get paid because we make chicken salad out of chicken shit. I mean, it's really difficult to take a product that's dilapidated and resuscitate it.
So,
It's huge.
You got to be a little more creative, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you have to do it right because it's got to
Right.
withstand the test of
Right.
time and inspectors and everything. It's much easier to put up a straight wall. Just
Yeah, like from scratch.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? Like, okay, like let's say you're in the market. I mean, you're always looking, right? Rehabbers always gotta be looking.
Absolutely.
So what's like
your
what's your
deal?
bread and butter? Like, hey, if I get, I mean, I know it's all price based.
Yeah,
But is
absolutely.
there like a certain type of house that's like, hey, like,
I like to look at the comps on the way out, and if the comp on the way out is say 350, a single family house, I'm going to take 10% for in and out costs. So right away, you take the 35 grand off.
So now you're on the 350.
Correct. Then I take the sales price, obviously. Then I got my margin to work with. Whatever I price it out based on 30 years experience, I'm going to get a little closer than your novice. But based on what I price it out to do the work, what I could get away with, I'm going to add another 10% just for maybe a small surprise. Then on top of that, don't forget about your holding costs. So after all of that, if you can make 15, 20 grand and that's enough for you, you should buy it. But if you're making 5 grand on that, go get a job.
Yeah.
This is.
I mean, to me that's too. I mean, even
too
15,
tight.
even
Yeah,
15
it's
is.
too
I
tight.
think it's like risky. What if like
too tight.
a turn of market or
Absolutely.
you hit
Right.
like a.
Do you look into like besides like the actual comp, but like based on how economy's doing? Like you're like, you know what, the comp is 350 right now, but I feel like the economy's gonna slow down. Maybe let me.
I'm gonna be low. I'm
gonna
always,
go-
I'm
you're
always going low.
conservative.
So the rose petal glasses is.
I feel like
three-
at
380.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 350.
I feel like at XR we're all like that. We're pretty like conservative. Like even when you're
Safe.
buying a place, safe. That's how we play.
We're here to
That's how we do
make
it. That's
people
it.
money or
That's
make
right.
money for ourselves,
That's
but we're
right.
not here to risk.
The right way.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it the right way.
And I'm not starting over. I'm too old. It's over.
It's not over, but I get what you're saying.
Safe.
oh, you have the experience though.
Yeah, safe.
You can't buy that in the street.
Correct.
That's how-
What about you, Felix? What are you? Same thing, pretty much. Like you're looking at the comps.
Yeah, even comms. I mean, to be honest, I make sure that the numbers make sense.
Okay.
I do my cheat sheet. Like okay, this is for this is for this, and then also what I remember I told you.
Yeah.
I sometimes I use the people that I know, but sometimes I look for different contractors.
Yeah.
To
Price
give
them
me
out.
yeah, because sometimes I was doing the for this property. One guy was 15,000 to fix everything.
Yeah,
for
you
the-
told me.
for the heating and cooling.
Yeah.
Another guy was 12.
Yeah.
So I'm like, of course, 3,000 make the difference for the
It
food.
adds up, yeah.
So I think it's very important, make sure you're doing the right numbers, that a new, needs a new roof.
Yeah.
Well, you have to make the list. Go, if you're doing, of course, if you're doing it with me, I'll guide you
Right.
through the whole process.
Of course.
But if you kind of, trying somewhere else, then make sure you're writing everything down, whatever it is. Even if it's, the thing is oh, I just doors.
Yeah.
It's gonna be like $500. That's okay. No, put it in there. You gotta make sure you know how
You gotta
much.
make sure, yeah. What do you guys like? Like, I guess I know it's about comps and everything, but what do you prefer? A frame home, a brick? Like, you know, me, like my experience, like I love the ranches and the
Cheap.
bungalows.
Less expensive.
Cheap. So that's the most important.
Yeah.
All right.
We say in Spanish, bueno, bonito y barato.
But I love it. Yeah, that's right.
Claro que sí.
Claro.
Well, bungalow's my favorite structure.
Really, bungalow?
That's what I have.
Why?
Bungalow
See,
brick.
like I feel like those sometimes, like I feel like the bedrooms make or break those. Sometimes they're just compared to now living, so
They're
it's
tight.
like they're tight. But they do bring people do like them because
People like
a lot of open space.
Stout, well made. Yeah.
They have good curb appeal too.
Yeah, they're
You know,
very
really
they're very
nice
classy.
Georgians
No.
is my least
Georgians are little.
preference,
Yeah.
but if you build another Georgian right behind it, now you got a nice two-story.
Yeah, then you got a nice 2-star piece. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And I got a guy if you need an addition. That's all.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but now you have to bring the architecture, which you can add
I
another
know.
$3,000-$4,000. So all those things also.
It adds up.
But go back to your question, brick all the way.
Brick.
For me.
For you,
'Cause
okay.
I work with a lot of, I'm Latino, so I work with a lot
No,
of
no,
Latinos.
no. I absolutely.
And we build homes in Mexico with bricks.
I get it. I know. I'm from Italy. It's
No,
the
they're
same
like,
thing.
if there's no brick, it's just a wooden house.
But I gotta say, I met Jack at one of his rehab, and he did a frame one, and it was pretty sick. It looked awesome.
The R value,
And it was frame.
it was a complete gut, so it was easy to make it perfect, right? But the R value was sensational because all the walls, when you gut it, frame and brick, there's a price difference. So for the price difference, you're changing the materials. Some people prefer brick.
Yeah.
And it's going to be more money. The frame with the right R value, there's nothing wrong with the frame structure as long as you have the R value. So you got to know what's inside the
Can you
walls.
explain for the public
Yeah,
what's
the
the R value?
The R value is
Sorry.
the insulation. No, the insulation inside the walls
Okay.
is going to make the difference because back in the day they'd make the brick homes so they could breathe, so they'd absorb the coolness into the night, and they'd go through the brick, the lat, the plaster, and they'd allow the coolness to come during the day the next day. Well, now we're all putting insulation, stopping that breathing, so it's defeated the purpose of the original
The original concept.
brick concept because the lath and plaster on the inside is gone.
Yeah.
So now they're putting the R value, they're putting the R insulation, the 2x4s, the 5/8 drywall, and it's not breathing. So we're suffocating ourselves. And now we've got fresh air intake. Let the walls breathe and leave a window open. Let a
Wow.
little air in.
What do you
Yeah.
do then? You just keep.
I got 4 original walls in my home
Okay.
because I insist on letting it
You
breathe.
like it.
Yeah.
You like that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Just,
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, really,
So on a frame
that-
structure, if you have the proper insulation, there's nothing wrong with it. And if you have the Hardy Backer cements
Those are
siding,
nice, right?
those are beautiful.
They're
Yeah.
building brand new houses.
and
with those.
frames
With
game.
those.
I mean, everyone loves frame houses now.
Well, it
Like,
has
they're-
its value and you could do more with it.
I'm not saying- yeah.
The brick is the brick,
Yeah,
right?
those cement sidings, like Jack was saying,
Yeah.
they're pretty.
Yeah.
They're pretty.
If you have
Yeah.
the right brick layer,
Yeah.
that's ornamental, that's
Exactly.
gorgeous. I
Yeah.
get it. An octagon bungalow.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
on
no,
the Tudors,
beautiful,
you know,
beautiful.
English Tudors. Oh my
Absolutely,
God, they're
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
They look really nice.
But those brick McMansions, I can do without it. I'd rather
Really?
actually have a frame 2-story with more
Okay.
decorative
I get
wood.
it. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm more like Felix when it comes to personally.
Yeah.
For my personal, you
Well,
know,
being Italian.
I like the brick, you know, personally.
He's
That's my
Latino,
house.
you're Italian.
Yeah, you know, but
The only thing I prefer about brick houses when I'm looking at it, I could tell if it's like, because frame, they could just slap siding on it and you walk in and it's all.
my biggest thing on
Yeah.
frames, if you do, like, you know, Jack did one, it was
Yeah.
beautiful, everything was done correctly. But a lot of frame homes that I go to, the basements are a nightmare. You know,
Well, they were
the
cellars back
foundations are with cedar blocks.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a concrete foundation. They got seepage,
You know,
water.
if you dig out a basement, you got to do it properly. Let's get into basements. To
Yeah.
waterproof it.
Tell us.
Chicago, Illinois.
Yep.
If you have a home and you grew up in a home in Chicago, you dealt with the basement taking in water 2-3 times a year.
Yep.
Nowadays, they have a lot of product that you could underpin, you could dig down the floor, get 9-foot ceiling heights, drain tile all around,
Okay.
the dimple board for seepage, you have the backup battery for the sump pumps. So nowadays, the basement is becoming more of the living space because you can make it so attractive and it breathes so much
protect
better than,
Yeah.
40, 50 years ago, us growing up. There's mold in every one of our houses, and we got
Well, but for the
an
sewer-
allergy, and we
I know.
blamed something else.
No, it was the basement.
It was the mold. Yeah.
What about for the sewer line? Are you doing overhead sewers? Are you just keeping
Definitely.
it with a
No, definitely. I
check valve?
prefer overhead. So
Okay.
overhead sewer means anything above the basement goes into the sewer at the ceiling of the basement. Anything that goes into the sewer in the basement gets an ejector pump, and that shoots it up into the line.
Okay.
So now you never get the gaga backing up. into
Meaning
the basement.
bathroom, yeah. The bathroom, the laundry, all that stuff. Yeah.
No more.
But what about if your house just comes with the sewer that's underground?
You could interject in the front of the property closest to the street, up and back over. So.
Okay, so you
And
kind
I
of,
just so happen to have a sewer license, so.
Yeah, so you kinda
Jack
do it-
Gambone could help him. Yeah.
nice.
Jackie,
I
oh,
love
wow,
it.
look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Good to know.
You know?
Just because I'm old, guys. I got a lot of certifications.
Or you experienced it
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
All the bad, you had all the bad experience as well.
Yeah.
And you learn over the years.
Yeah, well, you see
know?
a couple of guys that impress you and you model after them. You know,
Nice.
I've had good mentors.
Nice.
I can't say that I've lost that many, and that's why I know it's been a good.
Okay.
I've had good mentors. I've been lucky between good investors, good mentors, excellent family.
But you're a good person too, so
been-
you're attracting good
I've-
people.
I've been lucky. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
God bless.
Ton of knowledge here. I never knew that about the brick, how that it was designed to keep, to like get the cold there overnight and then get it through the house
Yeah.
during the day.
Never knew that.
Between Felix and Jack, we have
That I never heard
No,
of.
but I never heard of that because actually I hate plastic when I'm knocking the things out, because it's so much work.
No, knocking it down is no good.
It's just like,
Well, back then the gas was cheap.
Yeah.
They didn't care about the heating bill. Now
And it was radiator, so it was more
we're trying
control.
to save now on the utilities. Put up R38, but you're suffocating yourself. You
Yeah.
gotta breathe.
So what's the drawback if you do that? Like, okay, like you say, suffocating. You
Well,
just,
now the furnaces come with a fresh air intake,
yeah.
and you're bringing in air, you're circulating a little bit. But still, yet some people have developed allergies because of the insulation. The foam insulation.
Yeah.
Some people have
Wow.
because of the chemicals in the wall.
Wow.
So you got to be careful, especially with the foam insulation. You got to be careful. It might have improved lately, but years ago I learned from a client that she couldn't do that insulation because she was
Wow.
I'm really allergic to
well, she was sensitive. And then she looked into it, and then she didn't want to take the chance because she's like, well, I'm sensitive as it is. I'm not going to
Not
take
gonna
a
roll the
chance with
dice.
this. Yeah.
So what? How about both you guys? Question, put you on the spot. What was one like? Oh man, like something happened during the project. You're like, oh, how am I gonna get out of this one? Or was there something that, like I know obviously you just talked about yours. You got that big yellow sticker. That would have.
right, that's one. But I mean, talking about money wise, I got one that the profit was, and I mean, I say it's bad because we can make more than that.
But I mean, think about it. Like sometimes you put a house on the market, 10K is dropping the bucket. Like if you got to do a price adjustment.
We did. We gave him some credit to the
Yeah,
buyer.
or-
Yeah.
But was like
But at least
what happened during the project? Was miscalculation or?
Yes, because you're new on the project and you're learning as you go. You don't know all the numbers, and then or something come out. Like big example was we're gonna keep the bathrooms, they're fine, but then the inspector came over and they're like, no, you got galvanized pipes. All this has to be copper.
Copper.
So, you're like,
But even if
okay.
you didn't touch it, like it's not like you're redoing it. They said they still wanted you to change it out.
Yes.
But still, that experience though taught you a lot for the future projects, right?
Exactly. Now like I said.
Yeah.
Right. When I say write it down everything,
Yeah.
I mean it.
Yeah.
Like,
Now you do. That's what you do.
everything.
You write everything down.
you have to, because
kinda-
then you have to. If you make the numbers for you to make something.
you analyze the numbers really good.
And to be honest, a good flip. If you make 20K, that's a great flip.
Yeah.
To be honest, some
get it.
people income is like that. So
Of course, yeah.
From jobs.
yeah.
So if you make a profit for 20,000, it's great.
So I want to stop you right there, just so people, because I get this all the time when someone flips a house. They're like, "Oh, they paid this, and they want to make all this money." So on that 20K, what did you pay for it? What did you sell it for? Typically,
I mean, this property in particular, I bought it for $80K. You know, it wasn't with the lender; it was my own money, and I put like almost 80.
Okay.
On it.
So you bought it for 80,
I almost put 80 on it.
and you put 80 on the top of
Because
it.
I didn't find out the whole
Yeah.
plumbing stuff. That was it.
And then what did you sell
That was my extra. You know, that was like my extra money.
Yeah, that was.
So
And then what did you sell it for?
I sold it for this was 60. Yeah, like almost 1,000K.
Like 200K.
200K.
Almost.
So
And then
so
with
so
expenses
basically
and
you're in at
everything,
160.
Well, inspection, you
Yeah.
know, you have to pay everyone. I mean,
Of course.
you know how it is.
Of course, closing and everything.
And then how much? I mean, but then you add your time and all that. It's like some people look at it. Oh, this guy bought it for 80 and he's selling it for 200, and they think he's gonna make 100.
Yeah, of course, because people listen because
They're not. That's why I try to explain it. Like, okay,
No, but right now there's all these websites, right? Redfin, Zillow, and they're showing all this information, so people think like, oh, this guy made all this money, but without knowing that he had to risk his first 80 grand. Then he has to risk another 80 grand. So technically, let's say there's a war and everything collapsed, he loses 160. Boom.
Easy. Mr.
Yeah.
Optimistic.
No, I'm just saying. No, I'm easy,
But you know,
I'm getting
but
nervous.
he's risking. He's
man,
risking.
Jack's getting out of the business.
hey,
Jack's like, all right,
to the people up there, if you want to do it, don't freak out. Because at the end, if you don't, let's say, you know, God, don't let the market crash, you will still have a property to rent.
That's what we, yeah.
So
that's
let's
what-
just,
absolutely.
you know, you won't
So
lose
that-
the property.
Correct.
It's not like a stock where it just disappears and you
Exactly. You
see-
own land, it's there.
you'll have something.
Correct. So like for me, when I buy, right now I just hold most of my property, actually all of them. But me and Frank, when we bought in the past, when we did it together, we looked at like, hey, worst case scenario, can we keep it? Can we keep it as a rental? That was always the question.
Will it
If I-
cover itself?
Yeah, would it cover itself? That because we just don't know where the market is unpredictable.
Well, we saw it. We saw it happen. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen to that extent ever again, but we never say never.
So
Yeah.
be careful with the neighborhood you buy, because just because it's an attractive purchase price, if you're
right.
not comfortable renting in that neighborhood, if you're not comfortable going in that neighborhood for 9 months of your life,
Right, absolutely. Then you
travel with caution.
it's going to be a big headache. You're going to stress a lot, and then from something positive becomes negative.
Yeah.
So again, we're optimists, right? We're not talking about any war. We're not talking about anything.
Sometimes you're the
We like-
pigeon and sometimes you're the statue.
I love
Good days,
All
and
kinds
you're
of
gonna have bad
analogies.
days.
Oh, Jack.
Joe,
Yeah. What about you, Jack? What did you ever run into? Like, I'm sure you have. Out of all those years
yes.
and
my,
flip.
my favorite story is cobblestone foundation that I had to re-pour while the house was upright.
Wow.
So I had a sister support it, and then I met with an engineer, and I learned how to pour a foundation while having the house not collapse on you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we might as well dig out the basement. So that was my
Wow.
first
See,
9-foot basement.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I had my bobcat in the basement.
Now I'm gonna say, like, if someone told me, okay, we're gonna jack up the house and take out
Hold
what's
steady.
I don't think there's much of a return on that.
Hold steady.
like in the
I stopped counting. Yeah, that was for sport. Yeah, but I learned how to underpin a foundation.
Yeah.
Which whenever you have a foundation and you want to go under it another 1.5 feet, you got to do it with some strategy and some engineering knowledge. So that was when I went to college. I paid. So I paid for that lesson too. Yeah,
Wow.
I was the statue on that one.
You're a statue on that one.
Best thing you can do is don't count. Just say you're learning,
going.
and,
That's it.
and I still put out a great
I like
product.
that.
I still put out a great product, and everything's fine.
So yeah, but you're
good.
learning. So instead of you pay for college, hey, you learn from this mistake and you paid for it. And
It wasn't Harvard, it was UIC. What are you gonna do?
We had Frank. You remember our bad experience before closing?
Oh yeah, experience.
When you
yeah.
remember?
Oh, with the tuck point?
There was a storm. No, the storm. So it was a few days before closing, and we had like a bad storm, and so the tree collapsed.
no, that was before we got it.
No, that was before. We already got it.
No, we got
Throughout
it.
the
Hold on.
process.
Hold on.
Throughout the process, long story short, the tree collapsed, and it took down the whole electric, the meter, everything outside.
Service, yeah,
the whole
So-
service.
so-
It took it off. Took it
Yeah,
out.
but basically what it was like, okay, we'll just call ComEd, right? Look, we had a friend of ours who's good electric, puts a new service, beautiful. I'm like, okay, we'll just call ComEd. They just got to redo it. So ComEd goes, Yeah, that's no problem. But we need an order from the spillage, aka you had to give a permit to have that done. So now we're like 2 weeks with no power.
Go back to the
Then we get the guy. Then we had to go get a permit. Then the guy. It was just, and then ComEd, they operate. They go on their own time.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we'll get there when we get there. We have all these people out of power now. So,
But
yeah,
we did
it was
close
like,
without power, though. That's why
I don't think
We
we did.
close without power?
we closed without power.
What?
Did we?
We worked it out, yeah.
You negotiate a
I can't
little.
remember. I can't remember.
Yeah, we closed without
Did you
power.
brought some-
It was
We had to get
so
the
good, I
fire.
forgot.
Do you brought some candles and there you go?
The crazy, I brought cannolis,
Sometimes
I
one
know.
man's problem is another man's pleasure.
That's right. No, but we're learning a lot to this episode. I like it.
We did doom and gloom, biggest challenge. What about like one that you just like everything just went right and you just like, wow? Or did you ever get more than you thought you were gonna get?
I call that falling ass backwards into money.
Has it happened? Has it happened in the game for Jack?
Doubles, nothing big, but where everything went smooth,
Nice.
and it was 30 days from purchase to sale.
Wow.
That was
Nice.
that was pretty cool.
Oh, and sometimes the market, I feel like, sometimes the market changes, right? And sometimes in the positive. So in the positive, maybe the comp, the year when you bought it 6 months before was 350, then all of a sudden it's at 400.
Yeah, and back to the network of people. The reason I got that or had that, excuse my English, was because my network of people. I had people always looking to sell my stuff.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't looking to hold. Just like
Yeah.
here at XR, we're
Correct.
all trying to help each other. We're
Correct.
all communicating. So if somebody comes here, does a
Correct.
flip, Felix finds them a flip.
Yep.
They bring me in as a consigliere or a contractor, and then it's a team.
Consigliere.
It's a team. It's
I
a
love it.
family purchase.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then on the way out, we have 15, 20 people
We do.
looking to help sell that.
That's right.
And now you
Yeah.
could go quicker from closing to closing instead of waiting
Yeah.
and seeing who's interested.
Yep.
You create a
It's a
market.
win-win.
You create a market.
create a market,
So
exactly.
you don't wait for the market to help you. You
Exactly.
create the market.
Exactly. I love that.
Makes sense?
Yeah, but Felix, because you're out and about there too. Like besides the flips, like you're representing clients and buyers and
Yeah, I've been doing that for almost 6 years now. I mean, I love that part of realtor, that
Yeah.
you're part of them, bought a house,
Yeah.
and then they have the first kid. I mean, all this,
Yeah.
it's, it's and
plus
I'm-
you have a good experience. So you're really telling them like,
yeah.
the bones of the house. Is your water heater good? Is the water pressure okay? Like
To be honest, that saves,
you're not just opening the door, right?
and that saves some people's money, to be honest. Put it to that perspective.
Yeah, I
That's,
know.
let's say we love the home, but then I'm looking on the furnace, maybe on the water here, like, okay, this is gonna go bad soon. And then if you go to the inspection, and then seller doesn't want to agree on anything, then they're just wasting $500.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean it's a bad house, but at least you're giving them a heads up so they're not surprised.
Right, then
later on.
they know
You
that
what I mean?
if that's, you give the options, then make
Correct.
the choices.
Correct.
Let's put it that way.
Correct.
A well-rounded, experienced realtor
That's right.
like us here at XR Realty are going to prep that.
That's
And
right.
there shouldn't be any surprises.
That's right.
You know what you're looking at.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they know it's coming, like you could have a. What I say, hey, the furnace could be 5 years old, which is relatively new, but in 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, it's going to be old. So you just got to factor in that cost when you're buying. So
And I tell you, started with my clients, these two young people bought this property, condominium on the South Loop.
Okay.
And everything lifetime was out. Furnace, water heater, everything.
Wow, at the
And I
time?
told them, and I told them in front, I'm like, okay, don't worry, we'll do inspection.
Yeah.
We request, maybe some credit or whatever. And we ended up working, a credit, but the seller had tenants. So we will have to wait for them to move, to fix everything.
Okay.
But the good story from my client is that the water heater break down
Wow.
on the winter when there was a tenant. So the guy had to replace it anyway.
They had to put a brand new one.
And my client already had the credit for it. So I'm like, so what's
So
the
worked out.
win-win?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, things happen like that too sometimes. Yeah.
like I said,
Yeah.
it's a 50-50 sometimes, but
Correct.
it was good for them because,
Correct.
they
Correct.
have all the credits. It's a risk sometimes.
Exactly. Exactly. But it's good to have a good experienced realtor. Again, like
Absolutely.
you did really good on pointing that out. And so they end up getting a good product, and at least with stuff that's already fixed. And you didn't go
Purchasing stuff with credits And if you're, again, back to being too optimistic, if you're down to your last couple of nickels, that's always a scary time for any family. So a big recommendation I have is sometimes it's okay to rent for a little longer.
Right.
Make sure you have your reserves, because people these days, they're so into debt. And that's one of this country's downfalls right now, the debt. It's just so high. Nobody cares about reserves. Nobody cares about what if. Nobody cares about be careful.
I know.
It's live now, me. And those people get into trouble.
I know. But right now,
It's a whole new generation.
it's about that online show, right? The social media
yeah,
show.
yeah.
And
Online
if you don't
shit.
get it right away,
Online shit.
I guess you call it online shit. But if you don't get it right away, then you can't do the show, and that's what happens. A lot of people get in trouble. But
Yeah.
I'm all about the show. Don't get me wrong, but you got to be able to afford the show.
Yeah.
Or you just go work your ass
As long as you have reserves.
I just think some people don't want to wait for everything. Like you could have everything, you just gotta wait for it. Like now I'm seeing people they want. Okay, you go in a house. Okay, you want to do a kitchen, bathroom, but then it's like then I gotta do the basement. I gotta get this done. I got the outside. It's like okay, you want to do the whole house in the first
Step by
year.
step,
It's like
right? Yeah.
you're not even gonna use this whole house right now. You only you
Nobody's saving 10% of what they make anymore. The savings plan is just so lost.
Correct.
Yeah.
I know.
So another thing I kind of tell people that don't have, that maybe are thinking about doing a flip, and that especially if they don't own any real estate, is, hey, the safest flip you could do is on your own house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you really can't lose. Like you need a place, you're not gonna have to hold it. You're gonna pay the holding cost is your.
What do you mean? What do you mean flipping your own house?
Okay, if you don't own any real estate and you want to get into flips, well,
Okay.
and you're looking for your first house too,
Okay.
fine, flip that. Like you could live there.
Oh, okay. Live there, live
I mean,
there.
if things go bad,
Yeah.
you're eliminating your risk. Or
Correct.
if you even out,
Correct.
anything you put in, you got back.
But one thing I gotta say, look at the numbers still. Look at the
oh
area.
yeah, that's what I'm
look at the
saying.
market, because there's some people-
You gotta look at it too.
You
Like,
can't be, let's say an example, just trying out there, Norwich, and all of a sudden you're building like you're in Lake Forest.
oh no,
You know what I mean? Like
that's
you're putting the
anywhere.
upgrades too high end.
far out.
You're not gonna.
Every neighborhood has a ceiling, right? Like
Correct.
you're in Maywood right now. They have a ceiling. You can't. Next to Maywood is River Forest. Totally different ceiling over there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Across the street.
Yeah.
So you got to do that. You got to.
You gotta run your numbers.
For single, aggressive, young people, that there's probably still 3 out there somewhere, I recommend that you buy a house and you flip or you rehab, live in it for 2 years, turn around, sell it, pick up another one, until you're ready to start a family and get married and think about kids' schools.
Yeah.
You could do this every 2 years and take advantage of the tax break.
Yeah.
And refer to your accountant, but I
Or
don't believe they pay taxes.
No. 2 years after 2 years. 2 out of the last 5.
Occupied.
Primary residence.
2 years.
If you
Primary
Because you're
residence.
living.
if you occupy
You
for
have to
2
occupy
years,
2 years out of the last 5.
yeah,
My attorney says 1 year, so
yeah,
Maybe 1 year.
that's a better attorney than I got.
yeah. I'm telling you, 1 year you get
got all the right
you get tax
guys.
break.
No,
We'll double check.
I'm talking about the flip itself.
No, we're talking about like
Okay.
primary residence.
Got it,
Yeah. So if I mean, you're putting money in it, so maybe he's looking at it more of okay, you put X in that one. But if you bought a house for 200 and you sell for 3, you got $100,000 gap. So if let's say he profits 100,000, you get to. I'm pretty sure you
Primary residence.
primary. You have to live 2 out of
Meaning
last.
primary resident, your tax return should show that address.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
Yeah, 2 out of the last
Your
5
tax
years.
return.
If any of our viewers get audited, you heard it here first.
Correct. Correct. Let's watch out. All right.
Carlos is gonna put a disclaimer on the bottom while we're
Yeah,
talking.
talk with your accountant. We're not. We're not
refer to your
accountants.
accountant.
Yeah,
we're
refer
not-
to your accountant.
We're not an
you know.
expert on the numbers.
But I want to go back to Jackie because you're saying save reserves because now I'm going to debate you on that.
Yes.
Because, yes, I'm all about reserves. Trust me.
Yes.
But with how time been lately, the past 4 or 5 years, with inflation and prices going up, somebody could be saving for 2 years, and then all of a sudden when he's ready to go buy, that same house is worth now 50, 70 grand more.
When I say reserves, it's a good point because I don't want anybody out there to get confused. When I say
Yeah.
reserves, I'm talking about 10, 15 grand,
Okay.
which isn't enough
have
to
on
make
your
any
side.
real moves.
Okay.
But if you do wait and you think reserves is 100 grand, you are going to miss the show.
You're going to miss the show. Exactly.
I'm all about getting in there in a hurry.
Okay.
I've always been a little more aggressive than your average bear.
Good.
But if the furnace goes, and you don't know what to do,
You gotta
and you got to finance it on your credit card,
Not good.
you already lost.
You're already lost.
You already lost.
Okay.
You're striking
Good.
out. Yeah, that's the reserve I mean.
Really easy.
If
You could
need
find a
roof-
second job.
If you need a roof, don't wait for that guy to come knocking on your door saying he'll get you a free roof because there's holes in it from the last
Right.
storm. No, be able
Right.
to afford fixing your home if you need to. If you need
Correct.
to. Yeah.
Right. And that's what it comes to. Maybe you got to hustle. Maybe you got to work a little extra, right?
Mary Wright. I always.
That happens, but that's a low percentage, you know?
All you kids out there in TV land, Mary Wright. You'll be okay. If you didn't go to law school, Mary Wright.
So you got law school, Mary Wright.
Mary Wright.
If that doesn't work, then the rehabs.
Then the rehabs.
You're gonna have to make some short with all your phrase.
Yeah.
A couple of shorts.
We call them Jackisms.
Jackisms. Carlos, we got to get a list of Jackisms on the.
I think Jack's going to become a new influencer.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
YouTube
He just
influencer.
needs to get- he just
He doesn't
needs-
even know about his talent.
He needs someone to do the social media for
And
him.
anyone that knows me knows that I am not out there socially, Facebooky,
Oh, I know.
TikToky, whatever you guys
That's
are
why
doing.
we're gonna have to
these
get you
days.
back on because
That's why you got me on here.
we gotta expose you.
You see?
You just
I
wanted,
agree
you
with that.
just wanted to be my
Yeah,
first.
You'll always remember me.
That's it.
All you have to do is just try one video and you get a little more comfortable.
That's it.
I know for experience. I
That's it.
talk very. I wasn't that
Yeah.
into making.
Oh, you
videos.
did good the other day with your
But
video. I liked it.
kind of bringing out people to really know what we're doing because I've been doing it for so many years, and I mean,
People don't even know.
not people are like, what?
They're like, wow, Felix does rehab? Wow. You know what I mean? Especially if you're like, have new clients, you're helping a lot of first time buyers. They want to know that you're knowledgeable. They want to know that you're doing that. You know what you're doing.
A lot of first buyers. Yeah, that's actually the main reason I became
Yeah.
a realtor because
Yeah.
when I bought it with my realtor, I didn't know all these things. He didn't explain. Unfortunately.
Because maybe he didn't even own a house. There's a lot of agents, unfortunately, nothing wrong, but sometimes they don't even own a house and they don't know.
Right.
So we're, us here, all XR agents actually, we all have a.
I mean, you're a
good
landlord.
experience.
You're a landlord. I'm
Oh,
a
yeah,
landlord.
I manage property.
Okay.
I don't like that word landlord.
He met-
We're property managers.
Yeah.
Okay,
Property
property
manager,
manager.
Thanks for the proper term.
janitor. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I'm a friend. I just want to get paid.
Jake's got the right term.
But
No,
but it's a good thing to that we have the knowledge of
Yeah.
own properties, know what we're doing.
But not only the good, the bad, the middle. Like I got
I think
people-
I think that's what the old saying, you learn from your mistakes. So if you're not making mistakes, you're not learning. I mean, mistakes, no, they're not fun. Like you got the ticket from the city.
Yes.
Landlord, you got the phone
Renters not
call,
paying.
the emergency.
You got the foundation over there.
Yeah, foundation,
Foundation,
cobblestone. I mean, it's like now it's great, right? You could talk about it. You learn, but when you're going through it, it's
Correct.
not
Now
fun.
I laugh. Before I was sad.
It's only a good story when we get away with it. Yeah. The people that don't get away with it, they're starting from the drawing board or
Yeah.
or going to night school somewhere. Yeah. It's
Well, I
tough
mean,
on
it's
all
back
you.
to your reserve thing, right? If you
yeah.
get okay, you're doing this. Now, what am I doing? I'm stuck with this place. You can't sell it. You had to.
Is it still a question for you guys? Is it still a good market right now with 7-8% rates? With the economy, we don't know what's going to happen. And I feel like it's going to stay steady, but people don't know. There's a lot of questions out there. Is it still a good time to rehab or to find a product to fix it up and put it in the market?
I think so. I think what has to shift is where you do it, right? I think the more desired areas, it's harder. It's harder.
Okay.
I mean, from what I see, I think
Okay.
the more the price points are higher.
Okay.
I think it's harder. I mean, it's just harder because I feel like affordability is so in demand.
Okay.
That even your handyman special that the regular average homeowner is willing to pay to do it, where the other neighborhoods where it's not so high demand, there's a bigger profit margin. I don't know, Felix.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that one, and also know the area. No, not just like.
Oh yeah, that's
Not just the properties. I'm looking at all these properties. Okay, I want to buy here. And I give you a quick example.
Yeah.
It was one property in Maywood. It was far inside, not so much exposure. So for the one we bought now.
Okay.
Because you got close to the highway,
Okay.
5 minutes.
What do you do to
school,
know the area? Sorry to interrupt.
Drive
Like,
around.
Drive around.
Drive around.
Okay.
Get in the car. I mean, you can put your waves, whatever you
Okay.
use.
Maybe even talk with local people, right? To go
I do.
go
I
to the
knock on
shop.
window. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like, hey, you know,
Go to the coffee shop. Go to the grocery store. See what's going on.
take a look at everything. If it makes sense, and you, this is a more of a feeling. You know, you feel like it's gonna be a good sell. You know, in a good spot. Go for it. You know, if you have the money, of course. Very important.
But you do feel, obviously, you have one going on right now. You feel like the market still, the numbers still could make sense. There's still opportunities.
It will, if everything works fine, we're gonna make a good profit.
We're gonna do it to be continued, and we're gonna see.
Oh yeah. I'll be like, hey, here's my closing statement.
What about you, Jack?
Get invited back to episode 26.
What about you, Jack? For the north side, what do you think?
Driving around, I like alleys.
Alleys.
If you can respect the person's alley, that's a neighborhood you're okay to sell in. Because the people that you're going to sell to also want to live and raise their family. So don't ever picture who you're going to sell to and think that they have different standards.
Yeah.
We all have families. We all want our kids to be safe.
Yeah.
Nobody wants rats the size of cats running around because their neighbors are pigs.
Yeah.
So you check out the alleys.
So
The
what do you think?
I love this.
What do you think?
I love that.
The alleys tell me everything about a block. Yeah.
I love it.
Back to the original question. You still think it's a good? I mean,
The market, I have adjusted my numbers. Everything still has a number. Everything has a sales price. Everything's hot to go for the right price. So I have adjusted my way of thinking, and I don't win every bid, obviously, because I'm holding a little more conservative.
Yeah.
The people that are going to live there, we're never going to beat them.
No.
The people.
That's
the
kind of
people-
where my point is.
The
It's like,
people that just cashed out or have a $500,000 inheritance in a CD and they're itching to use it.
Yep.
They're always going to be more aggressive.
Correct.
So I just sit tight because eventually something I offer on doesn't have that attention, and that's the one you'll get. So don't be patient. And could you get stuck with it and rent it and be happy? That's something I always consider because you never know how this market could unravel. If any one of us could predict the future, forget about it.
making that money.
Yeah, so we got to be ready. Back to the reserves.
Yeah. I like to go like at night or weekends.
Yeah, as long as you're
When
packing,
people home,
you got to
so
conceal and carry. That's all good.
Yeah.
Bring Betsy out with you. Go for a
Don't worry,
night ride.
I got some. I got some bodyguards somewhere.
There you
go.
You know, it's all good. It's all about money. You have money, you can get anything.
Yeah.
How about you, Frank? What are
I'm
you?
still working.
As far as well, yeah, I kind of go stick to where I'm familiar. I mean, doing this so long, you get familiar with a lot of places. Kind of like where Jack. Okay, can I rent there? Am I comfortable renting there for a year, 2 years? If I'm not, maybe it's not for me.
But I think me and you, we kind of shift our. We
Yeah,
do the
it
rehab.
goes
Now
back to-
we're holding everything.
Yeah, I'm holding. I'm not.
You know?
I'm not in the.
We kinda
I'm not looking for.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
it's
us.
not- yeah, I mean, if an opportunity presents itself, I never say never. But it's not like I'm itching for a rehab. I'm not.
Yeah.
But you have a system. So that's where I was going to go. So the tip of the day is have a system. So if you have an itch, you insist on scratching and you're going to rehab, surround yourself, and Felix made reference to this early on, surround yourself with good people. And figure out your team because that team's it's got to have the energy to push it through.
Well, for me, the rehabs isn't in it. I mean, maybe something simpler. I'm not going to be tearing apart a cobblestone foundation.
Yeah.
But like for the
Property
for
management.
property management, it doesn't
no-brainer.
phase me. Like I know people. I mean, Greg talked about this. I know a guy who's got 50 units. Fine. I know someone with 1 unit to manage, and
works
they're
harder.
they're like so stressed.
Yeah.
And one guy, so it's all how you take
The guy
it.
with the 50 units, he just adds one more page, but he already has a system. He
Yeah,
has the fixers, he has the.
Yeah, so it's just what you're comfortable handling. So, and then you're shifting, so if you're going from rehabs, property management, then you're doing it's a lot of gear shifting. I feel like, that's just me at this stage.
I mean, other thing is, to be honest, if you have the money sitting in the bank,
Yes.
You're
for me, it's
missing the
another
show.
thing.
You're missing the show.
I don't know, if probably have more money, I'll probably be just doing all these things, but I just don't like that, to have the money sitting there and the bank probably using your money to lend it somewhere else. And
Lend
you
it to
just-
Jack.
Yeah, lend it to Jack to make
0%.
Jack,
Yeah,
0%. 0%.
But if you really have the money there, just trying to do it, not to risk it, but do something.
Correct.
Whatever.
Well, yeah,
I agree.
I think
in the game.
you're always gonna have to do if you want to get a little bit more. you got to take some risk and you got to do some extra work. You can't. It's not just going to be.
At the end of the day, you're going to have to do extra work.
Yeah,
that's
really.
really.
You just
That's
find
really.
you find something like it. You sounds like you. I mean, there's work is work, right? It's not like when you wake up every day, it's what you want to do. But
Like you got to have good work,
right? Someone enjoy it, right?
I wake up and I want to work. I mean, I want to do something always, like whatever it is. I'll be,
You got to have good work ethics. That's what it comes down to. You can't just think this is going to be like a walk in the park, right? Like any whatever you're doing, from realtor to rehabber to property manager, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be willing to.
Fun.
Felix, you do a really nice job with the buyers.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to get out there and look at some flips and get in the game, call Felix.
Yeah, he could
He'll
tell you.
help
He
you.
could show you the ropes, and you could. I mean, you guys.
and I got a good contractor here, so we'll get you together.
Correct.
And we got
One step at a
experienced
time.
guys.
Oh, that's
Come on.
right.
If I'm gonna mistake in a contract,
we're here.
Felix, you know what to do. There you go.
Anybody wants a night ride, we call the night rider. We'll get it done.
Yeah, I love
We'll get
this
it done
guy.
at XR Realty.
We're having a Jack show pretty
Oh,
soon.
yeah.
Carlos is lifting gear.
Yeah, Carlos
Throwing
Yeah,
out jokes
yeah.
and
I think my kids are going to change their last name legally after the show.
Anyway, I think that's a wrap for episode 16, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, guys. Saludos. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.